Strangulation Institute is a coalition of people who are passionate about prevention of strangulation. They come from several different walks of life, some from law enforcement, some from advocacy groups, and some from healthcare, and have joined together with a mission to outreach and educate across the country around the topics of strangulation prevention.
I'm passionate about this issue. I have seen thousands of cases over 23 years' time where batterers have strangled victims and end up with a misdemeanor, and they come to my agency for a 2-hour class once a week. It still infuriates me that these batterers get a slap on the wrist when they have nearly killed their victim.
There are so many things that I learned this week. I think that the statistic that was the most impressive to me was a woman is 750% more likely to be murdered after having a strangulation injury. I learned that in the case of strangulation injuries, and when you're concerned with a consent defense, if there's fear in the room, then there is no consent.
I feel that I was trained this week to be an expert in strangulation because I can clearly articulate the medical dangers of strangulation when there are visible injuries and when there are not. I understand the dynamics of domestic violence very well.
The tools that have been given to me here are just tools that, honestly, I probably could have used 10 years ago when I started, law enforcement. It makes me look at domestic violence and specifically strangulation in a whole different light. It's not just something that occurs one time, but it's a lasting effect. The most impressive thing that I take from here is the feeling of hope and the feeling that there is somebody out there that cares, and more importantly, that has the ability to help victims of domestic violence and that have gone through strangulation break that cycle.
But all throughout my career, I've been passionate about survivors. I've done a lot of work with human trafficking in Maine and human trafficking awareness for EMS providers. But when I became more aware of all the problems with strangulation injuries, I felt very important to make sure that message was conveyed, both to my colleagues at the hospital and my colleagues in pre-hospital medicine.
The best thing that I can take from here, how we can implement hope. Just a quick exercise to tell each other a goal that we had and how we were going to implement that. Once we did that, we basically applauded each other for the goals that we had set and how we were going to accomplish that. What we were doing and the feelings that we had felt were the feelings of hope. And that hope was the hope that we needed to have while we did our jobs and as we move forward in our lives. And so I'm taking that wonderful example and implementing into my investigations and applying that hope to victims of domestic violence and also victims of strangulation.